Please welcome Sierra.
Hi, I'm Sierra. I'm a senior in film, and for my Zenith, I wanted to study the role of an art director in the film industry. So my original idea was I have a bunch of ideas for movies I would want to create, just things stored in my brain, on Pinterest, throughout my lifetime. And I was talking to Mr. Taylor, and I was like, I want to do something from one of these ideas, but I don't know what. And he helped me kind of figure out that the one thing I had in common was the idea of an art director. So what is an art director? An art director is it's a career in a lot of different media industries that focuses on the aesthetic of a film. So kind of like a director, but kind of subtract the dialogue, and it's more of direction of the film mode messages, which is something we talk about in film. That's communication through colors, either pre-production or post-production, angles, different things to signify the relationships between the characters. And so this is something I'm definitely interested in doing in the future. I didn't even know it was a thing until this project, but when I found out what it was, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally, this is kind of what I want to do. So, yeah. So I did 3 treatments, or proof of pitches, which is 3 film pitches. I'm going to show 3 little videos. There's no dialogue, but it's just a visual pitch. If I were to make that movie, that's kind of what the aesthetic would be. So my first one is based off of A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is my favorite Shakespeare play. I love Shakespeare, and I just wanted to do something that was a mixture of stage play and cinematic, because I feel like I've never really seen something like that before. And so I was trying to figure out how you capture the feeling of a stage play through a screen. And I also wanted to make it feel really magical without special effects, in production. All I did was through editing and color grading, I wanted to make it feel magical through that. My biggest inspiration was the 1996 Romeo and Juliet, because the costumes, the white, and then the sets and the color grading, I think create a really magical image. So that's what I was going off of. Here's kind of my mood board I made. I made a mood board for each pitch. So those 2 on the left are from ballets, and then these 2 in the middle are from Romeo and Juliet, and these are just some images that I like this kind of glowy aesthetic, and I thought it would pair really, really well with the plot of a Shakespeare play, especially Midsummer Night's Dream, which is about magic. So this is a screenshot from my editing process. So these were a couple different things that I used. CJ explained the Lumetri color curves a little bit. I also used those. This is my first time doing it, and that was definitely my biggest learning curve. But for this one, I used LUTs as my base, which is like an imported color grading base kind of. And then, yeah, and I used blur and grain to get this kind of more magical image. So this was at Stanford. And I ever so slightly color graded the ground to be a little bit more purple, and the clothing to have the whites be brought out. And then for each clip in the timeline, I duplicated the clip and did a duplicate on top of it, lowered the opacity, and then added a blur, and that kind of just makes it really luminous. And then I also had a bunch of symbolism. So my first film mode kind of idea was to allude to the story of Pyramus and Thisbe, which is the play that they do in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So it's a play within a play. And it's basically kind of the original Romeo and Juliet. And it's a Babylonian love story, and it's basically these 2 lovers that are, can't be together, and they talk through a crack in the wall. And so I kind of wanted to allude to that with these 2 characters, which are Hermia and Lysander, who are also in the play lovers who can't be together. So here's a depiction of the love story, and then here's it being done in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So they talk through it. Someone plays the wall, and they talk through a wall. And then I also wanted to use blocking. So both these 2 characters are in the center, but them holding hands in the very center. So it's their union is the center. And so I just wanted to try a lot of cool blocking things like that. And this is this one. just like did exactly what I wanted, and it was so much fun. For my second one, I wanted to do kind of a murder mystery, so I was really inspired by like Knives Out and like Now You See Me. But I also wanted to do something that related to art history, so I basically had this idea to do like a double meaning of the word framed. So it's like framed as in being framed for murder, and also framed as in like framing for a painting. And so I wanted to incorporate aspects of art pieces that are really significant to me because I'm kind of an art history nerd. But I also wanted to do that through film mode. So in this one, a lot of the like ways that the actor stands and the way that she positions herself are references to paintings. And this one was also color grading. Color grading was a really, really significant part of this. I wanted to use DaVinci Resolve, but I figured I kind of am doing a lot already, and I don't really have time to learn a whole new software, but I do want to use it. And I also really took an interest in like the fashion editorial side of this and incorporated a lot of that as well. It's like very experimental. And yeah, just like really bright colors. Oh yeah, and I really like this quote because it was from the director of Poor Things, and he said, "It might not be for you, but there's something everyone can get out of it." And I thought that really applied to this one because like, I think there's like, I put a lot of thought into it, and even if it's not for you, I think the depth to it can be really interesting. This was kind of my inspiration, so like really, really bright colors, fisheye lens that Miss P let me borrow, and yeah. So this is my timeline for this one. On that side, you can see the original clip, and then on this side, you can see how much I color graded, so I completely changed the color of the wall, which was very, very difficult, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. I used a lot of masks, so like, especially on the table, the like white of the tablecloth kind of got muddled in with everything, so I had to separate that out. And then as you can see, the color curves here are just like crazy. And so this one took a long time to export, even though it was only like 40 seconds, because I basically applied this to every clip. And then Mr. Taylor showed me how to use the key color tool, so that that's how her hair is such a bright red. And so I also applied like 8 key color tools to every clip, and it just took a really long time to load, but like I'm so, so happy with how it turned out. So there's a lot of symbolism here, as I mentioned. A lot of the poses that she makes are really similar to a lot of famous art pieces. Not only famous ones, but ones that are like particularly significant to me. Like I love Frida Kahlo, so I wanted to create something like that. And here is this one. So that like restricts like the way that a person can like be framed, and yeah, I know there's like a lot of ideas there, but I really hope to continue developing this idea because I love the imagery. For my third treatment, I actually wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to focus on martial arts because I grew up doing martial arts. I did Aikido, and my dad does ninjutsu, and I grew up watching martial arts movies because of this. And I think a lot of martial arts movies are like the fight. So a lot of my inspiration for this came from, like, you can see Bruce Lee over there and Karate Kid, the training sequence down there. And then here's like an original drawing of a ninja. And then these pictures are actually 2 pictures of the guy who trained my dad. His name's Hatsumi. He lives in Japan. And then that top picture is actually from when we were filming it. It just kind of reminded me of these 2. For this one, sound effects was like the biggest thing, like all that goofy sound. So I had a sound for every footstep and like whether they're closer or further from the camera. And then they fight with bows, which are staffs using ninjutsu. And so every time they swing it, there's a whoosh noise. So I had to add that in as well. And then for color grading, I just wanted to kind of simulate like a Karate Kid, like older movie style. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then the symbolism. So I have them like in martial arts. You kind of either stand like this or like this, and it really matters what side you're on. So they did a lot of standing, like their feet are positioned in opposite directions, and then also with the bows, they have them like hitting, which is a representation of their like relationship. But yeah. But yeah, project. I learned a lot and I just had a lot of fun. And then I also made a poster for the second one as my digital media project, my like final choice project. I just wanted to mention it. I don't know what you think, so really cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Do you think being an art director can apply to other things other than film?
Yeah, totally. I actually recently just found out about the role of art director in like commercials, which I think is cool, but also like on and on, like non-film as a whole, like marketing for like books or like any sort of like graphic design, like that like takes period over, like is a like big, not just one thing, you know, like a group of something being marketed or yeah.
Which one was the most fun to film?
The most fun, I think, was the martial arts one because it's like my dad and his old friend, and they were just like talking about all this stuff. So cool. They did a really good job. Yeah.
Okay, like I really love it. And then like, how was the shooting experience and stuff work?
Oh, it was really fun. The only thing was there were kind of people in the back, and there were actually college tours going on during this. So they were like, I had people running around in costumes during the college tours. But it was a really nice sunny day, which was really lucky. And for the most part, people were like super kind about it. Like no one was in the way, and I thought it was a really good place to film. I like how old-fashioned it kind of looks.
Okay, thank you. We have to move on to the next person. Thank you very much.